No, no, I did not forget about this. Don't worry. I'm gonna be doing this in this video. So, question: how did you think of your OC? So my OC was something that sort of evolved over time, if I could say that correctly, because I've kind of had this character again for a while, and they've kind of just gradually shifted and evolved and kind of like changed their appearance. Before that, she had previous designs, which I'm going to put up on screen as well compared to the current design, so I can show you how the process kind of like shifted. But you can kind of see like how the design sort of shifted over time. And I don't know how exactly I originally thought of this character. I completely forget how I actually came up with them, but yeah. How do you view the the horror genre when there's fandoms that tend to get corny and make jokes about a specific franchise? Okay. I'm a little bit confused by this question. I mean, I think I could kind of get what you're trying to ask. When fandoms get corny and make jokes about specific franchises, and I know there's probably some out there that do that with certain things, whatever people want to think. If people want to make corny jokes about certain franchises or whatever, then you know what, they can do what they want to do. That's how they feel about it. As long as it's not hurting anybody else, then I don't really care about that stuff. I hope I'm getting the right idea here. Whatever they want to feel, it's their opinion on it. If they want to be corny about it, then they'll be corny. As long as again it doesn't hurt anybody, it doesn't harm anyone else or anything, then whatever they think. Do you play Minecraft? Yes, I do. Have you seen Songs of War by Squared Media? It is a good show. You might like it. I have not. I feel like that sounds familiar, but to be honest, I really haven't heard much of anything about it, unfortunately. I might look at it after this, but yeah, I haven't seen Songs of War. Do you like musicals? It depends on the musical. I mean, Hamilton is, I thought it was good. And I know that's probably like very baseline, like, oh, that's just a very generic musical because everyone loves Hamilton. And obviously, I think Hamilton is good and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I mean, it depends. Really, it does, because I think I've seen some good musicals out there that were. I think musicals can be good, as long as they're done properly. Next question they had is: have you seen the flag of Montenegro? Yes. Have you tried food from Luxembourg? I don't know. Maybe. I don't pay attention to the foods I eat in my life, but I don't. I've never had food from Luxembourg before. So, what's your favorite genre of horror? Ooh, that's a good one. I tend to really enjoy the ones that are more psychological horror, and I know that there are a lot of horror games that tend to brand themselves as psychological horror and kind of fall under the psychological horror branch. Some of them probably don't qualify as that, but others I feel like are really good. So it has to be the psychological horror kind of thing. Why are you into horror so much, and what made you want to do your types of videos on it? I don't know. I mean, I saw a good chunk of like people I know online. I've had friends who have reviewed horror stuff before, and the reason why I decided to sort of make my videos more on those types of games, and it's definitely one very different than just playing gameplay or playthrough videos and posting it on YouTube, because let's be honest, that stuff is pretty much like the most baseless, generic thing you can do on YouTube at this point. I thought it would be something to be very unique on. I thought it would be something that would take more effort. I thought it would definitely make me do a lot more work on it. And I've been trying to sort of shift my approach on those kinds of videos, like sort of what's worked best. And I think I kind of found maybe something that can work. Though again, it has to really sort of depend. And I do want to try branching out and doing more different stuff at some point, besides doing just solely horror stuff. And yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens from there. Do you draw often? I used to. I used to be into doing art a lot when I was younger. I've kind of phased out of that now and may still kind of draw here and there just for fun or just to try to be something to do in my pastime. But I did sort of fade out of my art phase Your next one is, would you say you have a specific gaming franchise you're particularly attached to? Oh man. I don't think so. As I'm kind of getting older a little bit, I'm not really trying to prioritize playing games too much in my free time because I do want to try being a lot more productive, and I have become a lot more productive. I haven't really been attached to a specific game franchise like I have been when I was younger, when, I didn't really have all these things around me to do or didn't have a lot of responsibility then. So yeah, I mean, and I really hope I'm answering your question correctly. But if I'm not, then I'm terribly sorry if I misinterpreted it. But as of in modern times today, I mean, I do have some games that I would have to say I have my moments of being addicted to, of being hyper fixated on, and I don't tend to get like so heavily attached to them. All right, your next one is, what prompted you to start uploading more on YouTube? That is a good question. So I mainly wanted to start uploading more on YouTube just for it to be as a hobby thing, because I think I started uploading more when I was going into college. Like when I was first starting college, like about what, 2 years ago. Yeah, it had to be about 3 years ago. I started getting more involved in doing YouTube and trying to see if maybe I can make it work. Hence why, again, as I mentioned earlier, I was uploading a lot of gameplay videos, playthrough videos of me doing silly stuff and all sorts of that stuff, yada yada. And then it gradually shifted over time when I started doing more different content with doing what I do now. And that sort of worked out really well. Okay, I'm not sure if this is a weird thing to ask, so feel free to ignore it, but what is your age? I am 21. Well, recently I did turn 21, but I am now officially 21 years old. And do you feel Sigma today? Have you heard of Lobotomy Corporation as opposed to we might play it? I have been asked a lot to play Lobotomy Corporation. Again, I'm very confused about the whole thing about that game. I've heard very few people mention it. I'll play it at some point, and I did promise I would probably play it alongside some other games in the next stream I do. So do keep an eye out for that. But yeah, still unsure of what Lobotomy Corporation is all about and stuff. If you didn't choose a bunny for your Sona, what other animal would you have been instead? Congrats on 1K, by the way, and have a nice day. Thank you. If I didn't choose a bunny, well, I forget how it kind of evolved into a bunny to begin with, but if I wasn't a bunny, I probably would have been more of a sheep, maybe a lamb. I did want her to sort of be like a hybrid of a sheep and a bunny. And she technically is, because obviously, if you can tell, her eyes kind of do like the thing that sheep or lambs do, where they sort of have that weird eye pupil thing. So that kind of does point out that she is a hybrid of some kind, but she is more predominantly a rabbit than a sheep or a lamb. Do you often play games outside of horror? Also, I only discovered you recently, but you're already one of my favorite content creators. Damn. Well, thank you, Octocrumbs. And I really feel bad because the time you came around to my content, I sort of vanished for a good bit because I had to focus on college stuff, which was fun. So I wasn't able to focus on videos during that period. But I do play games outside of horror. Big surprise, big surprise. I'm into other things than horror. How did you come up with the channel name? Also, bonus question, was there any reason behind why you're a bunny sheep, or was that chosen at random? Now, I already answered that question, like your bonus question, but for your first question here of how I came up with the channel name, that too also sort of just evolved over time, because before I was Beriistic, I forget what other name I was before Beri, because I started to go by Beri more, years ago. I thought it would stand out, and I kind of started to just accept the name, and I'm fine with it as it is. Oh boy. Okay. One favorite cartoon growing up, I would have to be The Amazing World of Gumball. That was probably my favorite cartoon when I was growing up. There were a lot of others, but I definitely think that The Amazing World of Gumball was my main one. Favorite game of all time, and if that's a tough one, what game do you have the most hours in? Okay. I don't have a favorite game of all time, but I can definitely go check and see what my favorite game, not my favorite game of all time, but the game I have most hours in. it's definitely Elden Ring. Elden Ring is the game I have the most hours in. And if for people who want to know what my hours are, I've played 180 hours. Do you watch analog slash digital horror? I do actually. And if so, do you have a favorite series? Oh boy, Walton Files or Greylock. Oh, and there's another one that I just thought about too. It's the Alex's Archives. If you know who that is, or you know who that, if you don't know who that is, they've done a Ted the Caver series, and it was really good, like a complete reimagining of the first creepypasta. So you definitely should go check them out. What's the scariest game you played and or couldn't finish? Oh, that's a good one. Okay, the one that scared me a lot that I didn't really finish. I know Amnesia the Bunker was one. When I was playing in my off time, I had a really hard time finishing that game. But I definitely know I had my fair share of horror games that I didn't finish. So, yeah. Has there ever been a game that made you cry? Yes, there have been various different games that have made me cry. There was one good game, for example, that I've played before that definitely made me cry. That was definitely When the Past Was Around. When the Past Was Around definitely made me tear up and kind of cry a little bit. Has there ever been any video ideas you scrapped but considered reviving and finishing them? I've had videos I've actually done that I wished I did better on, or some videos that I have unlisted that I may want to try to revisit at some point. Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of stuff that I've unlisted or sort of scrapped because I thought it wouldn't work out, at least in the state that I was in, and stuff that I definitely wish I did a lot better on and wish I did better in, especially where I am now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that is a good question. So, favorite Family Guy funny moment?